All right, guys. The day is over. It's time for happy hour. Happy hour, guys. It's time to get something in your glass, mark the end of the work day, hang out and learn a little bit about some vino. We have the uber talented Janet Jackson giving us a little tune. Sarah, what is up in San Antonio? Drinking some Nara Sangio. I love it. Y'all, Ann is back in the house. Ann, what are you drinking today? Jeffrey in Arlington having a spindrift. Don't tell anybody. I think those are my favorite sparkling waters. They actually taste like fruit. Sydney having some Skeleton Key White in Irving. I love it. Eric having some homemade Mustang wine. All right, Eric, get it. I love that, man. Where are you, Eric? Where are you located growing that wine? Rick in Tulsa. So you tapped into some 15 Clota Pop CDP? Rick, that is some good juice right there. Holy mother. I love some CDP, and Clota Pop is no joke. Brian in Northwest Austin with Skeleton Key. Alan, my Toronto buddy, checking in with a Negroni. I love it. It's so great to see all these names that have been with us throughout all of these happy hour weeks. I love it, y'all. Katie, Eric, and Asha. I love it. Katie's like still at work, but she's technically at happy hour. I love it. Also amazing that our fans are logging in while they're still at work. I'll write you get out of work at 5:01 notes if you need me to. I don't know how well it'll go over with your boss, but love it. Oh, you're out in Fredericksburg, Eric. All right, I'll dig it. Ann's having some Malbec Rosé in Canyon Lake. Y'all, these tunes are brought to you by a very special guest today. We have one of our wonderful, amazing William Chris team members with us today. So I am going to bring her on. Woo, Susie, thank you for the Janet Jackson inspiration today.
Thank you for playing my jam for me.
Of course. So where are you today and what are you drinking?
Well, so today you can see I've been working curbside today. So I am in our main tasting room that is empty and I am drinking our Lehe Grenache.
Well, cheers, friend. Happy hour.
Happy hour.
Mm. Y'all, just to give Susie some extra love because she deserves it. Susie is a very devoted and dedicated studious wine student and is working on her level 3 now, right? You have your level 2, working on your level 3 WSET certification. And so Susie's going to be helping us out today with wine nerdery, and she's going to be asking some great questions and help us learn more about English bubbles. So Susie, we'll see you in just a little bit. Cheers for now.
Bye.
Y'all, yes, everybody loves Susie, and indeed, you guys, we're going to do our best to keep bringing you the friendly faces of our tasting room folks so that you can see them while the tasting room is closed down. We have some really exciting news about bringing private virtual tastings to you. So stick around for the end of the episode. I'll be including some info on that. I think in my These 3 Things, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe I wasn't supposed to say that. Nope, it's a part of These 3 Things. Stick around. I'm going to give you some more details about that because we still want to get you our wine for you to have tasting experiences. It's going to be fun. But first, let's say hi to a few more folks. Alan in Sugarland, what is up? Having some 12-year-old rum on the rocks. Alan, feel like we could be friends having just straight rum on the rocks. Aged rum on the rocks, y'all, is a special drink if you've never had it. It's not just to like throw in Coke all the time or in your pina colada or your hurricane or whatever your tropical drinks are. Really good aged rum. Nice by itself. I dig that, Alan. Donna in Clear Lake having some Skeleton Key Cab. Brenda in San Antonio. Deborah. Timmins Mourvedre in Lubbock. Hey, that's grown actually really close to where you are right now. So is this. So let's talk about what I'm drinking today, guys. You'll again see some condensation on the bottle. I do apologize, harder to read, but that's because I chill my Mourvedre, especially in the summer. Mourvedre Lost Straw Vineyards, Texas High Plains. It's from the 2016 vintage. So let's give it a little swirl, a little smell, a little swirl, a little taste. Cheers, everybody. Happy end of Monday, June 29th. In case you forgot, today was Monday. It's over. It's happy hour. So cheers. All right, guys. This is really tart red fruit, cherry, raspberry, but like the tart ones, not the ripe fruity ones, like tart. It's also got a little bit of spice on it. And almost like this dusty note, almost hard to explain, like what I'm kind of almost like an earthiness. So for me, it's like really tart red fruit, a little bit of spice, likely from a little bit of the Eastern European oak that we use to age this. And then a little bit of like earthiness. Love, love, love this wine. Lost Straw, you know, is owned by Andy Timmons, who also owns Timmons Estate, who also owns La Pradera. So we work with Andy Timmons and the Timmons family a lot, and we get a lot of grapes from them, and it makes beautiful Mourvedre. So I also, guys, it's July 4th week, and so I wanted to drink wines that are going to be good for the upcoming weekend when you're grilling out and barbecuing and doing all those fun burgers, hot dogs, ribs, you know, brisket, you name it. I want to highlight wines that you should be drinking right now. So this is one of them. 16 Lost Straw Mourvedre, great with the grill. I'm thinking in terms of food here, I'm going to go beef rib, you know, big old beef cow rib, portobello mushrooms. And that, for me, that spiciness that comes from the oak is going to be really great with rack of lamb. Like, actually think about getting some lamb on the grill over the fire. Next level good. I know it's not as traditional for July 4th, but maybe you want to throw a surprise in there. Killer pairing with this wine. So cheers again. Let's hop into the wine nerd section, guys. I am stoked to talk about this. So because it is the 4th of July week, I am theming my wine nerd section on the 4th of July. So we are starting out with who we declared independence from, who we declared our freedom from, which was the English, right? So we're going to talk about English bubbles, guys. Yes, England makes wine. England makes great wine. And so we are going to talk today about English bubbles or English sparkling wine. Fascinating stuff. A lot of people still don't know about this, still have never tried this. So hopefully this will be something new for you today. I had to go back and do my own research. I've learned about it previously. I've had many of these wines, but you know, when it's a little more of an obscure up and coming region, sometimes you lose that knowledge. And so I spent the day studying English bubbles, and I'm stoked to share it with you. Let's start first by showing you. So I'm going to teach you 3 things today. You're going to be dropping questions in the comments. Susie's going to help us out with some questions. We're ready to nerd, okay? Put something in your glass. You're ready to drink. You're ready to nerd. We're going to learn about English bubbles, okay? So here we go. Thing number 1 you need to know is they're making English wine in southern England that's focused on plots of land that have the similar chalky soils to Champagne, okay? So this is thing number 1 you need to know. English sparkling wine in southern England specifically, and I'm going to share my screen here, so hopefully you'll be able to see this beautiful little map. Thanks again to Wine Folly for this. You guys see that? And I'm going to bring Susie up here in just a sec. So they're making this wine in southeast England. You'll notice that it's close to London. It's only, depending on which vineyard we're talking about, either like somewhere between an hour and 2 hours from the city of London in southern England. So crazy that they're growing grapes here, right, Susie?
I know. And so my first question is, why all of this, or is it all of a sudden, is England sort of tossing its hat in the ring of the bubbles, you know, since France is most known for their bubbles? So
yeah,
you know, why, first of all,
why now? What's happening? I love that. It's such a great question. So first of all, guys, you know, I want you to imagine, and maybe some of you, and I'm gonna pull the screen down for a sec because I have another picture to show you. How many of you are familiar with the famous White Cliffs of Dover? Anybody heard of the famous White Cliffs of Dover? I'm going to show you another picture. Maybe it'll spur your memory here. Is anybody familiar with the famous White Cliffs of Dover? So this is in southern England. The same chalk outcrop that comes up out of the ground in Champagne and actually in Chablis goes under the English Channel and crops back up again in southern England. So guys, this is part of the same like old school marine bed, ocean bed from a long time ago that's worn down and crops back up. And so we're talking about the same, potentially the same soil composition, or at least very similar soil composition. And the climate has been changing. And so as the climate has changed, the Champagne region's temperatures are getting much warmer than they used to, and England's are getting much warmer than they used to. And so Champagne's like, oh crap, you know, maybe things are getting a little too ripe. We're losing too much of our acid. And England's like, oh, we can finally grow like Chardonnay and Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier that's used to make champagne. And like, we also have similar soils. So like, similar temperatures, similar soils. Maybe there's something to this. And in the late 80s, early 90s, there were some folks that were like, hey, let's try planting these varieties and see if they'll survive here. And it was about the mid 90s where they started taking off, started winning awards. People started realizing that this might be a real thing. And so it was kind of the back to the why question, like, why are people doing it? You know, one, I think there's a market for it. I think there's a market for sparkling wine right now. People love drinking sparkling, and people don't always want to drink champagne and can't always afford champagne. And yeah, they're like, hey, maybe we can be like champagne. So it's a little bit of this like optimistic, hopeful thing behind the why are they doing this. So Susie, thank you for that question. Hopefully that helped answer it. I'm going to pull Susie back off for now. She's going to help us in a sec. So some other things I wanted to talk about before we jump to thing number 2. There's an untapped wine tourism opportunity here, guys. Because it's only like an hour or 2 from London. Think about that. Like Austin has a direct flight to London. Dallas has a direct flight. You could hypothetically get to English vineyards really quickly. With a quick hop in the car. It's kind of like if you were flying into Austin and wanted to hop out to the hill country to come visit our estate. Like it's an hour from San Antonio, an hour from Austin. So I think this is going to start to explode. I think folks are going to start really thinking about trips to English wine country soon. And you get to drink bubbles. I mean, like, not bad, right? I don't know about y'all, but like, I am itching to travel. I know it's probably not the best time right now, but man, I love my international trips and I miss them. Okay, guys. So we've talked about why they're doing this, the similar soils, the similar temperatures. One thing to note, they do see a lot more rain here than Champagne usually. So they have to pay a closer attention to rot in the vineyard. And there is some problems sometimes during the flowering and fruit set stage. If you get too much rain during that time, it can damage the flowers. And so they don't close and set the fruit well. And so that significantly hinders the amount of grapes that will actually grow and ripen during that season. So rain is an issue. So yes, like Champagne is kind of rainy, but it is not a coastal climate. This particular part of England in the southeast is still coastal. And so they are still going to see a lot more rain than Champagne is. So, okay, let's move on to thing number 2, guys. There's 2 more things to get through. One, it's like, why should we care if they're making wine? Well, you should care because it tastes really good. So this is the second thing you need to know. It's really tasty and recently has beat famous champagne brands in blind tastings in front of industry experts. Like, we're talking about Jancis Robinson, who is like world famous master of wine, has been for many, many, many years. And 2 English sparkling wines came in the top 2 places ahead of French champagne houses that are world famous. And so even the experts agree at this point that they are making super high quality sparkling wine. and it's super tasty. They had kind of that expert tasting was their judgment of Paris type of event where it put them on the map, you know, kind of like Napa way back in the day when those Napa wines were voted better than the ones of Bordeaux. So something to think about. Like it's not a secret anymore. People don't know it as much, but there's people like me who want to share it. I do want to bring Susie back up here because I think Susie had a question just about flavor and taste. Susie, when we were talking earlier, you were talking about like the flavor and taste. Is it different because of the growing regions? Can you ask that question again?
Well, yeah. So my question is, even though we are experiencing a climate change still, you know, because I looked at the weather really quickly when I heard what the topic was going to be, it is still cooler in that part of England. So a cooler temperature lends itself to a more acidic wine, you know, as it's more cloud cover, etc. So in France, with it being warmer, you know, it would have more of a yeasty quality that it would it not, with the champagnes? But then in England, it would be more acidic. Is that true? Number one. And then number two, I would think that France would have something to say about this.
Yes, I think they would have something to say about this. So I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit hole, but you are like right on the money. Guys, I told you, she's going to be taking over my job in like 6 months, no doubt.
Never, ever.
Here to teach you guys and our staff about wine. Y'all, with those higher latitudes, generally speaking, it's going to be a cooler climate. You know, it's almost like 51 or 52 degrees latitude, which normally they tell us 50 is the cutoff. And so it is. What they're saying is the temperatures are similar to the 1970s Champagne.
Ooh, did not know that.
What a lot of people say is the 70s were the peak of Champagne quality. And so if currently Southeast England is the same temperature, similar soils of peak quality decade of Champagne, that like, yes. And to your point, exactly right on the money here, that the acid was more pronounced. Like we've gotten into present day champagnes are a little more voluptuous. They're a little more leesy, a little more brioche, a little more rich. These British bubbles are much racier. They're much sharper. They actually, I think, lead with a little more fruit character in the front palate. So it's less focused on the long aging, the lees interaction, and the richer style that I think Champagne has kind of moved towards, and is back to that like really sharp wine that was of the 70s, honestly. And so I think also to your point that like England kind of, you know, has a chip on their shoulder. Like they don't want to be thought of as like trying to copy the French, right? Because the English and the French, the whole rivalry thing. So the English are trying to set themselves apart and make a different kind of wine. And they don't want it, you know, they want to be compared to Champagne because it was a great reputation early on. But they believe that they have quality juice now and that they want to make their own stamp on the wine world. So their styles are going to be unique, and they want to show a sense of place just like most wine regions do. So good question. I love it. This is probably what most people care about the most, is like, how does it taste? Am I going to like it? So I'm glad you asked this question. I'm going to do one more thing, and then I'm going to bring you back up. And this is actually related to what she talked about. And I see a few questions in the comments we'll get to here in just a sec. So if you have them, feel free to drop them in there. Third thing you need to know today about Champagne. Look, I even confused it, guys. Third thing you need to know about English bubbles is that, ready for this? Big Champagne brands are buying up huge plots of land in southern England and planting vineyards. So just like Susie talked about, guys, the French are like, what is going on? And that island across the channel, who do they think they are? Oh, wait, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe things are changing pretty rapidly in our vineyards. Maybe we could make some money. Maybe we need to go do that too. So just for two examples that I know of for sure, excuse me, inhaled a little bug. Need a drink. Everybody take a drink. I've been talking for a while. Happy hour. Wash that fruit fly down. Excuse me. Two famous French champagne brands I know for sure have bought up big plots of land. Taittinger, or as a lot of Americans call it, Taittinger. okay, and Boulanger, okay, or Bollinger or Bali, okay. Those are two very famous French champagne brands, and they have both bought up significant amounts of land and made big investments to start making sparkling wine in England. So, if these old school, big time, famous champagne brands are doing it, there's something going on here. And luckily for a lot of the Brits who are ahead of the game, they've already been doing it, and so they're kind of a little bit ahead of the game. Now, I see some folks asking, is English bubbly available? I'm going to bring Susie back up here in case she had a question. Somebody else asking, what bottles do you recommend? Can we get it at Specs or Total Wine? Got to get on the bandwagon early, absolutely. Before I jump into making my recommendations, Susie, did you have any more questions, or are you having the same question all these people do?
Well, obviously those, but then just one that just made me wonder, in the old world, how they say that, they define their regions, with these, with their names. And so then I'm wondering if France is going to look for a way to sort of mark their territory, wink, wink, in England, by buying up these plots. And if you have any sort of information or thoughts about that and how it might shift the labeling of sparkling wines, particularly if they are made by French.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, guys, this is like a deep hole of wine nerdery, and I love that Susie's asking this, guys. There are so many laws around labeling in wine, and this particular thing is actually of note because right now all of England is under the same appellation. So it doesn't matter if you're in like a really quality spot, like in Southeast England, or if you're in this like really less quality spot in like Wales, or, heaven forbid, you're trying to grow grapes up in Scotland where it's way too dang cold and you can't grow anything of quality. But I shouldn't say that, because Wales and Scotland are technically in different countries. So in England, the whole country, no matter where you're growing grapes, is under one labeling law or one labeling region. And there's been a lot of discussion lately to start to try and identify those subregions, those AVAs, and associate them with quality. Because as more people come on, they know it's not all going to be the same, and we need to start thinking the best little regions and pockets. Now, of course, if these French companies are going to take the grapes back across the channel, which they are likely not going to do, I don't even know if that, I don't know how legal that is. They're not going to produce it back in Champagne. They're just going to make like a second label. Or maybe a new brand or something like that. So in terms of labeling laws and appellations, that is very much a hot topic right now. Now, I will say this, that usually comes with strict standards of like what you can plant, how much you can plant, how to produce it. The French are crazy about those. The European Union are crazy about their laws. And they're purposely not trying to add a bunch of those restrictions right now because they want people to be free to innovate, because they haven't necessarily like figured it out yet to the extent where they need a lot of regulation. And so I think the regulations were probably still another like maybe 5 to 10 years away from, because there isn't the need yet, and people still want to continue to kind of experiment and figure things out and find where those best like high quality plots are. So love that you're talking about this. Great nerdy question. I love it. Susie, thank you. I'm going to bring you back up at the end for our cheers. We'll see you in a little bit. Guys, before I leave, that fruit fly is still stuck in my throat. I can feel it. I want to give you the names of some English bubbles, because that's what everybody's asking for on here. Is English bubbly available in Texas? The answer is yes. 100% it is. I'm going to throw some 4 producer names that I've had that I can vouch for. Leah, I was today years old when I learned how to pronounce Pétranger. There you go. I'm glad I can be here for a little bit of French fun. Okay, guys, here are your producers to try. Gusborne, Digby, Nightimber, and Ridgeview. I know for a fact that all 4 of these are sold in the state of Texas. I have personally seen a mix of these different brands at Central Market, at Whole Foods, at Austin Wine Merchant. Check out your local independent wine shop. I always, if you can, support local. So I know for sure that these will show up in Texas. So write them down. They're going to sit here in the comment section of this video. So if you need to come back, you can screenshot it, whatever. But guys, hey, why not go get some bubbles for 4th of July weekend? You know, have a sparkler in your hand and a sparkler in your glass. See what I did there, guys? Guys, honestly, I'm really excited about 4th of July. Hopefully, we had a little fun learning about the Brits and the wine that they're making. Thank goodness we've got our Declaration of Independence. I've got a quiz question for you while I take a look at these 3 things. So let's see if y'all can get this right. Specs, I'm not sure about, but you can call ahead. Specs is really good if you call ahead and ask them. So tell them those 4 labels or ask them if they have other English sparklings. But here's your quiz question of the day. Be careful. Be careful is my warning. Where are most of the vineyards planted that are used for English sparkling wine? Southwest England, Southeast England, North England, or Wales? Okay, let's all take a drink. Happy hour. See if we get the quiz question right. Woo, we got some different answers today. Hopefully you were paying attention. See if I see a lot of A's and a lot of B's. Today, guys, it is not D. It is not D, okay? So, guys, as a quick reminder, the majority of plantings for British sparkling wine are in Southeast England. Southeast England, also known as B in this scenario. Cool? All right, guys, for all of you who said B, well done. Deborah wants to know why not D. You know, I had to switch it up every once in a while. Sometimes y'all just get lazy on me and y'all just all like throw D in there and you don't actually think. So every once in a while, you got to watch out. B is the correct answer. Hope you learned something. Let's do these 3 things. We've got information on lots of tasting things. So stick around. You want to hear all 3 of these. First up is our next virtual tasting happening Friday, guys. Not on Saturday, on Friday with Chris, Catherine, and they're going to be grilling with Chef Ty, okay? Chilling and grilling with Chef Ty. You can still get this virtual tasting pack, and it has a 2018 Hunter. Guys, this is the sneak peek. We don't normally release Hunter this early, so you can grab that Hunter, try it. It's super young, so just be ready for it, but really cool that you're going to try 18 Hunter already. Go get this. Hang out with them on Friday afternoon. It's going to be taking place at 4 o'clock. Get it done. And they're great wines for the 4th of July, for grilling. We specifically picked out these wines because it's what you want to drink, what you're going to be eating, okay? Go get that done. Okay, like I promised, number 2 is about these private virtual tastings. So let's talk about this for 2 seconds. Thing number 2, we are doing private virtual tastings. So you can hang out with a William Chris tasting room ambassador, like the lovely Susie that you've seen here today. And they will guide your group of friends or family through an interactive tasting with a selection of our wines. And there is a link in the comments right there for you to click on and for you to sign up for a form if you're interested in doing this. We're going to work through scheduling and making sure you get your wines and figure out, get you on Zoom, all those fun things. All the details are worked out. You just need to fill out that form. Go make it happen. This is going to be incredible. Tasting room's closed, so we're bringing the tasting room to your living room. Cool? Cool. Next up, last but not least, guys, we are going to be doing this again tomorrow. I love you tomorrow. Guys, number 3, tomorrow we're drinking 17 Artist Blend, and we're going to be learning, ready for it, the wine they drank to celebrate the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. Maybe you want to go do some research. They toasted with a specific style of wine when they signed the Declaration of Independence, and tomorrow we're going to learn all about it. So see you guys right here. Let's bring Susie back up. She's going to cheers us out for the day. Susie, thank you so much for being an amazing wine nerd support today.
Thanks for having me.
Who are we cheersing to today?
Well, my heart just goes out to everyone who is just trying to make it through this really crazy, kooky time. Whether you're affected financially or emotionally, whatever, I'm cheersing to compassion.
I cheers to that. I love that so much. Cheers, guys. Cheers to all of you. Cheers to Susie. We'll see you guys tomorrow.